Well, hello and good evening. Is that introduction not as good as anything you see anywhere on TV? That is the most beautiful little lyric and color, and it's just so lively. Anyway, welcome to Positively Positive, and I am Susan Mintz, your host. And tonight we have an exceptionally wonderful show because it's someone I never met before. And for me, that's always wonderful. I love meeting new people, especially on a program like this. So, Positively Positive, for those of you who don't know, is a show dedicated specifically and only regarding HIV and AIDS. We want to promote an organization. We want to tell stories. We want, if you have something you're doing, if you're with an organization, whatever is HIV around the country, we have guests from all over the country. But whatever it is, if there's any little thread of anything involved with HIV, personal, as I said, if you have an event coming up, we just had a marvelous event that went on in Miami, a 24-hour marathon. It was wonderful, 24 people. Every hour there was someone talking about removing the stigma. Any events, any walks, AIDS walks you have, or any story you know it's important to tell, or if it's about somebody who's impacted your life, we can change the name. We don't care. We just want you to come on and talk about HIV, how it's affected your life, impacted your life, what you're doing to help remove the stigma. That is so ridiculous in 2025 that it still exists. It's just mind-boggling. Makes my boa want to jump. So anyway, you know that when I take my glasses off, that's just my guest. So we are getting ready. I think I've said everything I had to say. I don't want to waste a moment of her time. As I said, it's a new guest, somebody from around here, Palm Beach County, my hometown area. So I am going to say, when the glasses come off, Kim Parnett, come on in. I love meeting the new people. We have some that returned from last year, and then we have other people who just brand new, and it's exciting because some things are meant to be told every year. Not that stories aren't, but there's some things that you want to refresh every year, that you have to tune it up and make sure people are getting that information, especially when it's an organization or it's resources type thing. And then you have guests on that just have incredible stories, amazing people doing amazing work within themselves and their community. So Kim Parnett, number one, we have great time now to be able to talk. Where do you live? I said, where do you live, and how did you get to be where you are doing whatever it is you do that I don't know?
Okay, well, I live in West Palm Beach, and I actually work for Palm Beach County and with community services. So I work with, people who are low income, homeless, everybody, anybody that comes to us needing help. That's what I have been doing. I've been with Palm Beach County for 25 years, and I started out as a homeless outreach team supervisor. So, I have a lot of experience working with homeless, and now I'm a human services operations supervisor, and I supervise our call center, and I manage our resource and referral portal. So, which has become really, really big, and it's a very important tool that is going to be used in our community.
And we'll have to put that information up on the screen, that number you just gave, how to be reached, but that's how I met you. Wasn't it the retreat? Was it the Care Council retreat? Because now your name is familiar to me. And the community services with the homeless, wasn't that it part of it? It was with the homeless shelter, whatever you were doing.
Right.
Did I reach out to you? How did that happen?
You contacted me. I guess somebody referred you to me for this program, but I gave a presentation at the retreat on housing and homeless for Palm Beach County residents. I try to emphasize those that are living with HIV, but overall, I work with everybody.
Yeah, so that's how we connected at the retreat.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
where
Yes.
I got your information. How did you end up in Palm Beach County? Are you from here?
Well, I moved to Palm Beach County when I was a teenager, and I went to high school in Palm Beach County, and I ended up going off to college like everybody else, and in this field when we came back, and I got a job actually with HRS, the old Health and Rehabilitative Services with the state. I worked in public assistance. I was there when HRS broke into two parts, into DCF, Department of Children and Families, and the Health Department. So and in 2000, I left to come to Palm Beach County, and I was hired by Human Services to be a homeless outreach supervisor.
That's so important. I mean, even national, the homeless crisis is tied into mental health issues. It's, everything. We can't separate one thing from the other. Mental health, homelessness, drug addiction. There's so much involved. So you're a real people person, aren't you?
Yes. Yes, I am. Always. I've always been. Actually, I majored in anthropology in college. That's how much I enjoyed working, understanding human beings and understanding how people live. And yes,
that's
and
people.
also
That's people that just
yeah. And my dad is a doctor, by the way. Yeah. And I remember, just to talk about the history of the HIV crisis that occurred in the 80s. I remember my dad. He's a general practitioner. I remember him having a conversation with me. He was telling me about this virus that had suddenly, was affecting, men, gay men, and other, people from Haiti. That was the big thing at the time. That was what, all he knew. And I remember him telling me about that. And then, of course, when I was in college, HIV and AIDS became, a frightening situation for especially young single, people. And I remember going to the health department with one of my friends because she wanted to get tested. She was scared. So I know a lot. I've been through this whole process, of understanding the whole history of HIV and how it affects our community, and how it's still around, and it's not going away right now.
No.
Which it would. And we hope that there'll be funding that will continue to help, people living with HIV to get their medical care, their medications, and have housing. And housing is a big issue that we need to make sure that, if they don't have housing, they're not going to take their medication, right? So it's vitally important that they have the housing that they need.
And it's the umbrella. They need to have that security of having a place that they can go to. I mean, it's one thing to have the health department and be able to get meds, but if you don't have an umbrella over your head, you're going to get wet.
Yes. So you have to have that shelter. Mm-hmm. So
my husband, my story, I don't know if you know my story. My husband was bisexual, doctor, white, gorgeous, handsome. We were married 25 years. I adored him. I still do. And I do believe that what I'm doing, that God keeps opening these doors up and keeping me going because I'm doing people's work. I'm doing his work through this. And I know that he was bisexual and he contracted it somehow in the late 80s, but he didn't get it full blown, let's say, with pneumonia till 92. But he was gravely ill. He had a couple bouts of pneumonia. I was with him the whole time. We were very good. He was my best friend. And so I lost him in 94. But until then, I was been involved really 30, 40 years. And fear was a big factor then, but also drug addiction. It just got a bad rap. It got a bad rap for people, women, prostitutes. It got a bad rap for gay men. And then I knew it was going to go into the heterosexual community, into the Black community, into the minorities. These things have a pattern, and you have to be around to be able to trace them. It's not, a virus is not going to stay in one section of people, especially when it's a sexually transmitted disease. With seniors, it's up. STDs, HIV, seniors are getting it and contracting it. And it's a terrible vicious cycle, but people are not going to stop having sex.
That's correct. And I will tell you this, that I know people that had I know someone who passed away from AIDS. So I think all of us, my generation at least, I'm 60 years old. So my generation lived through the whole crisis, the whole epidemic into the 90s. And of course, I knew people that, were infected and then eventually died. And one was a young lady. She was only 24 years old. At the time they were using the AZT and the really tough stuff that, had side effects. And she just did not deal well with the side effects. It made her very, very sick. And she opted to stop using the medication and she passed away. So I think all of us in my generation know at least one person or somebody that, contracted HIV. So
before we moved to Boca in 85, we lived in Houston. And that was my whole neighborhood passed away. I lost every friend. We lost every friend because we lived in a very gay, bisexual community. It was very artsy. So I lost a whole neighborhood. In the 90s, we still lost friends. And when Jeff was ill, it was a nightmare, even though I was, thank God, able to take care of him and love him. And he had a good support system for him. But from that moment on, when he passed, this was my commitment to meet people like you and to say, what more can we do? How do you help? How do you remove the stigma? Not everybody's going to have insurance or have the resources or have the education or have the ability. I mean, Lord knows there's so many minority communities today that are being you got billionaires going to the moon on these joy rides, and you got people living on the streets with this. Yeah. How do you put that in your brain?
Well, right now, I'm very worried about what's happening because I got a notice today that one of our programs that we relied on for many years and other nonprofits use the same funding for a variety of uses has been suspended. And that was the Emergency Food and Shelter Program, the EFSP. We use that to help pay rent for people, and some agencies use it to pay electric and water bills, and some actually use that funding to buy food for soup kitchens and for pantries. So the loss of that potential, and it is a federally funded program, so of course it's been suspended, and we're just going to wait and see what happens if that does get released, and we we'll get it. But
what is the name of the program? What is the name of the program again?
Emergency Food and Shelter Program, EFSP. We always just say EFS. We used to call it FEMA. Yeah, we used to call it FEMA years ago.
But it's been suspended. Is it in litigation? Are the lawyers taking it to court in Florida?
All I know is that right now funding for a lot of things are held up in Washington. They're holding things up in Washington because of the cuts right now. So let's see what happens. I don't know if that. I'm hoping, because I know Catholic Charities uses that funding. Salvation Army uses that funding to help people with rent. A lot of nonprofits use that funding, and the cool thing about that funding is that it didn't require an income limit. Like a lot of our programs, you have to make 60% of the AMI or whatever, and below. There's like an income guideline. There was none for that program. So anybody who was having a crisis and needed help paying, part of their rent for the month, we would be able to help them with that, even if they made $100,000.
But that's what they're doing. They're suspending and they're holding up. They're not going to get a lot of money out of these programs. They're doing it. It's almost this mean spirit that's controlling it. Billionaires, mean spirit is controlling this. How much money are you going to really save by doing this?
I'm just shocked at the attitude
Yeah.
up in and this whole anti-wokeness thing, it's like all wrapped up into this one package. It seems like, they accuse people of being woke, and then they turn around and they want to, take things away from people. It's just really, really ridiculous and unfair.
It's sick. It's also sick. I think it's sick.
It is sick.
There's that need to control. There's need to control, and I think you're trying to control people who need your help the most.
I'm hopeful. We still have funding, just to let you know. We still have funding for rent in our Palm Beach County Human Services and Community Action Program. I work for both, and they're both together now, Community Action and Human Services. So we do have funding for rent. It is limited, but we open our portal in the beginning of the month. We just opened it. We're going to be opening it actually on the 4th at 10 a.m. But there are some restrictions because of we're trying to extend as much funding as possible through this summer, because this is it. After the summer, after September 30th, this funding will be gone. So it's called the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. It also was a federal program, but they already gave us all the money. Okay, so the money is there.
The Emergency Rental Assistance Program.
Yes.
And they can get that through the health department. They just call that. Well, he'll put the information hopefully up there.
Yeah.
But
I'm going to tell you, yes. Yeah, they can call my call center at 1-833-CSD-WILL, WILL. The numbers, that's supposed to be easy to remember. 1-833-CSD-WILL. Or in numbers, it's 273-9455. But that will get you to our call center. And if you are struggling and you can't afford to pay rent, or your electric bill is late and you're at risk of being disconnected, please call us. We can try to figure out what to do, what you could be eligible for. We do have appointments in our offices for those that are not computer savvy. Our program is online on a web-based application that people can apply. They can go to www.rentalassistancepbc.org. And that will give you all the information that you need to apply for services. But we do have some restrictions because of our funding is at the tail end, and we're trying to help as many, we're trying to help seniors, disabled, and families with children 13 and under. Those are our priorities right now. Now, before electric, we still have LIHEAP money. LIHEAP is the low income heating and air conditioning. It's that whole program that the state, sends money to our Community Action. Community Action is historically is the agency that has used LIHEAP to help the community with their electric bills. It does cover in Palm Beach County our Lake Worth utilities as well as FP&L. And we do have that funding, and people can apply whenever they need the help. We have two forms of that. There's crisis-based that if somebody they're past due and they're at risk of disconnection, they can apply, and we can try to cover that electric bill for them. If a lot of seniors take advantage of our HEA program, that one will give them a lump sum, which will go into the utility company's, account.
Where is your main office?
Well, our community services office is at 810, only for Palm Beach County residents, just to let you know. There you go.
Right.
Thank you.
It's up there now. But I want to know, where are you located in Palm Beach County? Are you on Datura? Where are you located?
No, my office is actually at the government. I'm at the government center in Delray. The South County government building. I'm in that complex, right there with the tax collector and the health department. I'm in that complex at the actual government building. So that's where
nice.
my office.
Oh, you're my neighbor. We're right next door to each other.
Yeah, I'm not that far.
So This is such an interesting topic. People getting housing, getting their electricity, getting food stamps, getting this, they're anything that they need when they don't have. And when you don't have anything, look what the floods did in California. And it didn't matter whether the people were multimillionaire, famous people or had nothing. It's still gone. There's still that feeling when you have nothing. The loneliness, the isolation, and especially HIV positive, you have no home. What about transportation? Do you cover that also?
Well, we do have a program that we use with some of our clients, and the Ryan White program. Actually, it's there. We have our Ryan White program. Actually, they're with me in that Delray office. Some of their staff, the case managers, and they do use the LIFT program. This program is, for our clients,
okay.
And what we notify 211. They use my resource and referral portal to make a request for a Lyft drive, ride share for one of their clients. And 211 makes all those arrangements, and that person can be picked up from their home or from any location and taken to a doctor's appointment, take them to a job training or to something that their case manager wants them to go to. So we do have that program. But as far as bus passes or anything, I'm not sure if the Veteran Services or Ryan White are using bus passes
now,
or not.
Is that again through local or federal?
This is local. I know that this program is, more national, but I'm just giving you an idea of what we're doing in Palm Beach County as an example. LIHEAP is nationwide, by the way. LIHEAP program is a nationwide program. Community action is across the United States.
That's what I wanted to know. Is the LIFT program funded by the county, state, or is that federal also? How does that work?
No, the LIFT program right now is funded through community services. We do have financially assisted agencies, and we do have contracts that we are, the county commissioners, they approve a budget for us. And that money is then used. And I don't know all the details because I'm not in that higher level fiscal role, but that money is, we give the money to 211. They arrange for the Lyft, ride for that person. And then they charge us for, they charge the money to Palm Beach County Community Services, and we pay them. And we've also included other nonprofits that are using our funding for rent. Let me just give you a little rundown. Adopt a Family, they work with homeless families. They do have some funding for rent for those that are struggling. They have to have children under 18 in the household. We do. The City of West Palm Beach has some funding. We call that Pathways to Independence. That's one of the programs that we're funding. Legal aid, and this is something I want to make sure you guys know too, is that legal aid and Florida Rural Legal Services, they are getting funding from us to prevent evictions. So if you know somebody that has been formally evicted, they've gotten a notice from the court, they've got subpoenaed or whatever, they can call us and we can refer them to Florida Rural Legal Services or legal aid, depending on where they are located. But both of those agencies are working with us to help prevent evictions. Also, the Lord's Place.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you about. Is legal aid involved with some of this, where you can get help through the legal aid there?
Yes. We have a great partnership in the community with all of these nonprofits we're all trying to help everybody, and we don't know what's going to happen next year, but right now we're doing what we can. We're helping people. They're trying to prevent them from becoming homeless. And by the way, I also supervise the supervisor of our of a homeless program. Right now, for those that are newly homeless or homeless that don't have all the problems and all the medical and all the other issues, the chronicity. We're working with that group of people where we're trying to get them paying their first, last, and security to get them into an apartment. So I have case managers. We have 4 case managers right now that are working with those individuals. So we're doing a lot of work. We are to try to keep people.
Kim, how many people in the program?
I think the last time.
How many people are you servicing in your program?
For the we call it the no acuity, but we call it our no acuity program. But right now, I think my last report I received, there was around 60 people that have been served. So, there's a lot of homeless people becoming homeless.
That's what I wanted to know. How many people do you service? What is the percentage of homelessness with HIV in Palm Beach County?
That I can't give you that answer. I don't know. I'd have to talk to, Dr. Messer. He probably would give me that number. He probably keeps those stats, but I don't have those statistics at this time for that. But I do know that
I have him on the list. I have him on the list to call.
Yeah. And, he can answer a lot of those questions. And he's the guru. He knows all the stuff going on with HIV in our community. He knows, really, he'd be you're definitely, you want him on the show. So with his wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, I do. I have his contact information. I know him and I have his contact information. I've just been waiting because we're backed up with a few people. So I want to make sure I get him in, which I will. But, we're going to the end of the year, so we've got plenty of people. But this is so important, the rental assistance, because this bothers me so much about homelessness.
Yep.
Because, again, I'm tied into the mental health aspect of it. But you're in South County. You're in that corporate area in the South County, in the courthouse area, or where the tax collector is?
I'm in that complex where the Tri-Rail station is, but we don't see clients. Yeah, but we don't I have all my staff are scattered around. I do have the call center there. I do have my call center there, but I do have staff in other offices. We're no longer limited to an area, just working in one part of air. All of community services, we're scattered, but we work with people all over the county. It doesn't matter if they're in Jupiter or in Belle Glade. We're going to work with them no matter what. So they just need to call us. And now when you call,
and we're such a large county, that's the thing, Kim. We're so big. It's Belle Glade, Jupiter.
Yes.
We're huge. Yeah. I mean, we're a really big county, and to service so many people and have the resources we have is wonderful, but you have to know how to get to them.
That's correct. So the phone number I gave you, the 833-273-9455, that is our basic number, but we do have a number also for people with HIV. If they need services, they can call 1-833-PBC HIV1. So that is a number for people who are living with HIV that need, and then when they listen to the call center, they will be prompted to select 7. Make sure if you do call looking for services with us, and you do want services with our HIV programs, please make sure you let the agent know that that's why you're calling, and we will get you over to those folks immediately. So
yeah, it's up there too. 833-PBC-HIV1, and then press 7. I remember this from all the slides now that I'm seeing it, because I remember I wrote down. Yeah, it's amazing. You meet so many people at these retreats or these conferences. But I know I specifically handed out a lot of cards and said, we have this wonderful show and we want to interview you. We want to know what you're doing and how you're doing it. And we want to help people with HIV. And that's the whole purpose of my life in general. My whole purpose is to meet people like you and to get the information out. Yeah, we may not be perfect. We may get dropped. We may have issues. Big deal. The information gets out eventually. Don't get hung up on the little stuff. The thing is, I
Right.
have you here, and you know what you're talking about, and you know what you're doing, and people can reach a real person. That's what we
Mhm.
want. We want to get to the people, because it's a frightening time if you don't know where to go and what to do. And we do have a
That's
very good health department.
yes. Actually, I'm training them. I was training them for the resource and referral portal. I manage the resource and referral portal. It is a what we call a coordinated entry into the assistance system. We try to we these agencies can refer back and forth between each other using this resource and referral portal. So, for instance, if we send a referral to the Ryan White program through our portal. They can send a referral to Found Care. They can send a referral to our other partners in the community using that portal. I'm getting the health department on with Mr. Scott is in there, his program, I believe.
He's my best friend, Rob Scott, my
So
best friend.
he's in
Yeah.
there, but I met with somebody else there because they're going to be doing a nutrition program. They're going to be working with the food bank, but that's all in process. There's so many things. There's so many things going on that we're trying to do to get help to everybody for nutrition, for food, for shelter, for utilities. Everything that we can do. And then, we also have senior services with community services. And, you would have to call the area agency on aging to access those services with our senior services. So, it is a big agency. We're trying to pull everybody together to work together and make sure people aren't given the runaround. We don't want to just hand out a whole bunch of phone numbers to people and say, oh, call this person and call that. We're going to refer you through the system. They're going to call you and set up an appointment with you to come in. Okay.
And see,
so that,
and Kim, what's so important about a show like this is the fact that you get the information correct that you got to get to. You see a person. It's not, even no matter how big we ever get, there will always be a personals involved, because I can't do this other stuff. I'm with people, and there'll always be a contact like that. And you won't be sending 15 to 20 minutes, an hour on a phone with a prompter. I won't put up with it. I don't care how big we get or where we go. I won't put up with that. I want to get to the person with the right phone number immediately, because when you're in crisis, the last thing you want to do is be on a phone for an hour listening to music. No, those days for me have never existed, and they will never exist. And I'll be brutal about it.
I promise that we do answer those phones. Our average waiting is less than 5 minutes, during our busy time. I'm just letting you know. So our call center has, been doing a great job. We are going to be moving to a new system, though, so it might be a little bit, a little crazy next week. Because next week we're actually going to start using our new call center system. But right now, my agents are well trained and they're ready to help anybody that, they just need to, when you talk to somebody, make sure you tell them that, you want to talk to someone in the HIV program, or you want to talk to somebody about rent or utilities, whatever it is that you need, make sure that you, let the agent know. And they will make sure that you get the services that you need, or they'll try to refer. If we can't help you, we'll refer you to one of our partners that may be able to help you too. So, I know it's hard out there. I know people are struggling right now a lot in Palm Beach County, especially the rentals are extremely high. It's very difficult for people to make ends meet, and we don't know what's going to happen down the road, but we're doing what we can to help everybody.
And you're doing a wonderful job. You are such a blessing. I'm so glad that, that I take this initiative, and no matter what happens, I knew that this was important to have you on like that, even though at first the name didn't ring a bell. But I knew that you were involved with the homeless issue and all of that, the guts. You're like the engine. The health department is the car, but there's certain parts of that car that you need to know. You're that get down and dirty in the engine.
I'm actually, the funny part with me is that I've been there longer than a lot of people at community services. So
Yeah.
I know a lot. And I know a lot of the nonprofits. They all know me on my first name basis. So, I'm well known amongst them. And I've been doing this work for a long time.
That's wonderful.
So, and I'm not going to retire anytime soon. So I'm still there.
We need you. We need you. And the other thing is, when you see Mr. Scott, you just tell him you were on Positively Positive with his best friend, because that's how this all happened. We are all connected, whether we want to be or not. It doesn't matter.
All of us are connected.
I met Rob one way, and he referred me to Richardo. He said, Richardo's got this great podcast. You need to be on. Fine. I was on. I said to him, I wanted a show like this. He said, let's do it. And here we are. And that's when I said, yes, it's my initiative to hand out my cards and say, I want you. But when I went to that retreat, or when I saw you and I knew that I just remember seeing Will, Will, and I thought, oh, that's me. I have my will made out. So I knew that there was who else is the other person with you that presented that day?
It was kind of a blur. There was that one lady. There was that one lady that gave that amazing story who went through so much in her life, and she ended up, she was living with HIV back in the 90s. I don't know. There was that one lady, and you were talking to her, and Dr. Messer, he got up and he gave a presentation on HIV, on the current stats and everything that's been going on and all the services that we've been, and I think James Green got up and spoke, I believe.
Yes, Dr.
Well.
Green, yeah, he did. Yeah, Dr. Green was there too. It was a lady from New York.
Yes.
I have both of them to get on. Dr. Green, I chased him down to get his personal number. I chased both of them down. The other thing is, how do you find it with seniors? Is the senior rate of HIV going up with STDs, being a senior myself? So how are the seniors handling all this?
I think what Dr. Messer, like I said, he has those stats, but I think he was talking about, yes, there are people who are, they think that since they can't, get pregnant, or, they don't think about using, protection. So, you have a lot of widows and widowers that are, out there. They want to find love, and they can end up, getting HIV. So I know he talked about that in the statistics.
Well, I want to say I am so grateful to have had you on Positively Positive, and that we were able to put the information up there for people to be able to contact you for rental assistance. And I think so many of our people are they're on faithfully. They will tune in no matter what glitch we have, no matter where we go. There's those people who are faithful because they know they're getting the information they need. But yes, community services, we have that up there also, the number again. But we want people to get tested, and we want them to be empowered, get to the doctor, get on medications early, and get to the right people, because knowledge is power. But we really do. We want you to get tested. Campbell Health Solutions, Richardo Jackson, he is such a resource for this. He knows everybody and everything, and he can also test you and channel you. So we really, Positively Positive, we're just the medium that way. He is doing it his way with his office and knowing the people. I do it this way and being aggressive with cards and saying, I want you. but this is my vehicle. So I thank you so much, and thank all of you for watching us. We can be found on social media, on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, my website, on every place. So thank you all again so much. God bless you all, and see you again.
Bye-bye.